Carpathian mountains clawed at the night sky. They were jagged teeth against the backdrop of a full moon. Fog, like the breath of a sleeping giant, rolled across the desolate landscape. It clung to the ruins of Dracula's castle, a fortress of darkness even in its decay. The air crackled with anticipation. This night was the culmination of an ancient feud. Shadows shifted within the crumbling courtyard. Grotesque figures, summoned from the depths of nightmare, whispered amongst themselves. They were vampires, ghouls, and things that defied description. All had gathered to witness the final confrontation. The air was thick with their fear and bloodlust. Tonight, Blade, the Daywalker, would face his destiny. The castle itself seemed to pulsate. It was almost as if it were a living entity. Its stone was stained with centuries of evil. This was Dracula's domain, a place where darkness reigned supreme. It was a place where even the bravest souls would tremble. The anticipation was palpable. Every creature, no matter how monstrous, felt the weight of the coming battle. It was a conflict that had raged for centuries, a struggle between light and darkness, between hunter and prey. Tonight, it would be decided. Tonight, only one would be left standing. A hush fell over the grotesque assembly as a figure materialized from the swirling fog. The air grew thick with anticipation, every creature present sensing the arrival of someone extraordinary. Blade. He moved with a predator's grace, his eyes scanning the courtyard, taking in every detail. Each step was measured, each movement precise, as if he were a panther stalking its prey. He wore a long black coat, its edges swirling around him like shadows themselves. The coat seemed almost alive, responding to his every motion, adding to his aura of mystery and power. Beneath it, the glint of silver could be seen. Hidden weapons, meticulously placed, ready to be drawn at a moment's notice. Weapons, honed to perfection, ready to be unleashed. Each blade, each tool of destruction was a testament to his relentless preparation and skill. His gaze, cold and calculating, settled on the towering figure that emerged from the castle's depths. It was a gaze that had seen countless battles, a gaze that promised no mercy. Dracula. The ancient vampire was a figure of terrifying majesty. His presence alone commanded respect and fear, a living legend of darkness. His eyes burned with an unholy light, his face a mask of cruelty and power. Those eyes, windows to a soul long corrupted, held centuries of malice and cunning. A black cape, lined with crimson silk, flowed behind him like a river of blood. It moved with a life of its own, a symbol of his dark reign. The two stood motionless, their eyes locked in a silent battle of wills. It was a confrontation that transcended words, a clash of titans. The tension was almost unbearable. It crackled in the air like static electricity, a palpable force that made the very ground tremble. The creatures of the night cowered, their own dark natures dwarfed by the sheer power radiating from the two figures. They knew that they were in the presence of beings far beyond their own malevolent capabilities.
Blade's hand moved, a blur of motion as he drew a sword. The speed and precision of his action were almost supernatural, a testament to his unparalleled skill. Its silver blade gleamed under the moonlight, a beacon of defiance against the encroaching darkness. The sword was not just a weapon, but a symbol of hope and resistance.
Dracula merely smiled, a slow, predatory grin that sent shivers down the spines of even the most hardened monsters present. It was a smile that promised pain and suffering, a smile that had broken countless souls. The battle lines were drawn. The courtyard, once a place of eerie silence, was now a stage set for an epic confrontation. The fate of many hung in the balance as these two titans prepared to clash.
You have come.
Dracula's voice echoed across the courtyard. It was a deep, resonant sound, laced with power. The very air seemed to vibrate with his presence, a chilling reminder of his ancient and formidable nature.
As promised.
Blade replied, his voice a low growl. His eyes never left his adversary. He knew better than to underestimate the ancient vampire. Every muscle in his body was coiled, ready to spring into action at a moment's notice. Dracula laughed, the sound like stones grinding against bone. It was a laugh devoid of humor, filled instead with centuries of malice and contempt.
You are but a fleeting shadow, a flicker of defiance in the face of eternity. Your kind has always been a mere annoyance, a brief distraction in my endless existence.
Blade didn't respond. Words were meaningless now. The time for talk had passed, and the time for action was upon them. His grip tightened on his sword, the silver blade gleaming in the dim light. Only action mattered. With a speed that belied his human heritage, he lunged, his silver blade aimed at Dracula's heart. His movements were a blur, a testament to his rigorous training and unyielding determination. Dracula, however, was ready. He moved with surprising agility, his own hand shooting out to catch Blade's wrist in an iron grip. The strength of his grasp was overwhelming, a stark reminder of his supernatural power. The air crackled with energy as their powers clashed. Blade felt the intense heat of Dracula's touch, the searing pain of ancient magic trying to overwhelm him. It was a battle not just of physical strength, but of wills and mystical forces. He twisted, using his momentum to break free of Dracula's grasp. A heartbeat later, he was behind the vampire, his sword a silver blur as he attacked again. Each movement was precise, calculated, a dance of death. Dracula turned, his cape billowing around him like a shield, and blocked the blow with unnatural speed. Sparks flew as silver met ancient armor. The clash of their weapons echoed through the courtyard, a symphony of battle. The first exchange was over. Neither combatant had gained an advantage, but the battle was just beginning. Both knew that this was merely the opening act of a much larger, more brutal confrontation. The tension in the air was palpable, a silent promise of the violence yet to come. The courtyard became a whirlwind of motion, a chaotic symphony of clashing steel and fierce determination. The air was thick with the sounds of battle, the grunts of exertion, and the sharp clang of metal against metal.
Grunts, more intense grunts, showing the struggle and effort.
Blade danced around Dracula, his attacks relentless, each one aimed at a vital point. His movements were a blur, a testament to his years of rigorous training and unyielding resolve.
You cannot defeat me, Daywalker. Your efforts are futile.
Dracula, however, was a master of the dark arts, a being of ancient power and cunning. His knowledge of dark magic was unparalleled, and he wielded it with deadly precision. He deflected blows with unnatural speed, his cape swirling around him, transforming into a myriad of shadowy tendrils that lashed out at Blade. Each tendril was like a serpent, striking with lethal intent.
Look at them! Such power, it's like watching gods clash.
The creatures of the night watched in horrified fascination as the battle raged. Their eyes glowed with a mix of fear and awe, unable to look away from the spectacle before them.
I've never seen anything like this. It's beyond anything we've ever witnessed.
They had witnessed countless displays of power in their long existences, battles that had shaped the very fabric of their world. But this was different. This was a clash that would be remembered for eons, a battle that would become legend. This was a battle for the ages, a moment in time where two titans met in a dance of death and destiny.
Breathing heavily. I won't stop until you're dust, Dracula. Your reign of terror ends tonight.
Blade, fueled by a lifetime of training and the burning desire for vengeance, fought with every ounce of his being. His muscles burned, his breath came in ragged gasps, but he did not falter. He was a blur of motion, his movements almost too fast for the eye to follow. Each strike was precise, each dodge calculated. He used his agility and speed to his advantage, exploiting any opening in Dracula's defenses. His eyes were sharp, his mind focused, every move a step closer to victory.
Growls, the Daywalker is stronger than I thought, but he will still fall.
Dracula, however, was a creature of immense power. His strength was not just physical, but also mystical, drawing from the dark energies that flowed through him. He called upon the darkness within him, unleashing waves of dark energy that slammed into Blade, sending him reeling. The force was like a tidal wave, overwhelming and relentless. The very ground seemed to tremble under his feet as he fought, his fury echoing the storm within him. The earth cracked and groaned, unable to withstand the sheer power of their clash.
Feel the power of the night. It is eternal and unyielding.
The battle raged on, a chaotic dance of death beneath the cold light of the moon. The night itself seemed to hold its breath, watching the titanic struggle unfold. Neither combatant gave an inch. Each was determined to emerge victorious, no matter the cost. Each blow was met with a counter, each attack with a furious defense. The sound of their clashing swords echoed through the night, a symphony of battle that would be remembered for generations. The courtyard was now a battlefield littered with the remnants of their clash. Blade, panting and bloodied, reached into his coat, pulling out a vial of holy water and a silver dagger.
Time to end this, Dracula.
Dracula's eyes narrowed, recognizing the true threat these weapons posed.
Do you think those trinkets will save you?
Blade didn't respond. Instead, he hurled the vial of holy water at Dracula, who shrieked as it made contact, his skin sizzling and smoking. Blade lunged forward with the silver dagger, aiming for Dracula's heart.
This is for everyone you've ever hurt.
The courtyard echoed with the sounds of their final confrontation, the fate of both hunter and hunted hanging in the balance.